Hello, hello, everyone. We're going to be looking into the upcoming court appearance for Brian Koberger this upcoming Thursday, as highly requested. Please bear with me because I am sick and my throat is in and out. So we're looking at the court appearance on the 26th, which is now in IDAHO County, Idaho. This status conference follows a change in venue for the trial, which will now be held in Boise due to concerns about pre-trial publicity. The status conference is expected to address the new trial schedule, as the full trial is not set to take place until June 2025. Which brings me to my next point, because if you look at, there's several things that have been canceled or postponed or something to that effect. So what I found out about that is that several upcoming court events in the Brian Koberger trial were canceled or postponed after the September 26th appearance, which is the one this Thursday. The main reason is ongoing disputes between the defense and prosecution over evidence. Koberger's defense team has been requesting additional evidence, such as cell phone data, and claims that the prosecution is withholding critical information necessary for their case, which is what we've gotten in several readings. This has led to delays as the judge considers these motions. Furthermore, the case venue was moved from Latah County to Ada County due to concerns over media attention and the ability to secure a fair trial. The venue change is also causing scheduling adjustments, pushing hearings to later dates. This reshuffling of the case's timeline means that many previously scheduled hearings are now in flux as both sides prepare for the upcoming trial. So I have some questions written down. We're going to kind of look through them and then see what we can piece together here. As always, this is an energy reading. It's all alleged, my opinion, not fact. Let's get started. Okay. Question number 1. What is the underlying reason for the recent delays in the Brian Koberger case? What is the underlying reason for the recent delays in the Brian Koberger case? Woods concealed, power supply. Someone's making a power move here, not giving, sorry, I have to fix the screen, not giving all of the necessary information. I just messed up my whole screen. 1 second. Okay, what is it then that the defense wants to get that they feel as though they're not getting from the prosecution besides what we already know? We already know cell phone data and all of that. What else is there? Sad, emotional, I'm being drawn to the eye, something someone saw, health issues, and aliens. Someone can clearly see that someone is hiding behind a mask. There's signs of this. What does that mean? There's signs of someone hiding behind a mask here. Burial in reverse, cleanup in reverse, parental figure. What is the underlying reason for the recent delays? Would it be fair to say that someone is trying to make it so that the surviving roommate's testimony goes smoothly? And there's some information that correlates to that? Kidnapped, hands tied. That's what's tying things up. Pattern repetition in reverse. Not what we typically do. What is not what is typically done? Digital in reverse. Typically, we would be able to give this information, but we're concealing it because there's something in there that makes somebody else but Brian look bad. What does that mean? Distraction. Someone's in their head about what? Social media. Survey. Everyone watching on social media has the key. It's kind of giving, we can't give you everything because it will, some pieces of giving you X, Y, and Z will make testimony that is being used to convict Brian not not hold the weight that it would if you didn't have this piece. So I guess I'd say it feels like there is things being concealed that would contradict the testimony that was used to get Brian in jail. Is that fair to say? Gift package in reverse. Somebody would lose a deal. Okay, let's go to the next question. How will the venue change affect the outcome of the trial and its timeline? Use tarot for this question. How will the venue change affect the outcome of the trial and its timeline? We have the Emperor in reverse and the Devil. Okay, so that's interesting because what just flashed in my mind was a reading that I said I felt like there was someone behind the scenes trying to really prevent this move of venues. And this is like that person lost, or that person was convinced that this would be better in order to continue to conceal things. The Hermit in reverse and 8 of Swords in reverse. It wasn't my choice. I had to release this. Wasn't my choice. I had to release this. How will the venue change affect the outcome of the trial? How does the person who won it... Okay, so there's someone behind the scenes, allegedly, my opinion, that wanted to keep this in its original venue. For some reason, that person either lost or that person had to say, okay, we'll do it this way. What was the benefit of them keeping it in Latah County? And how do they feel about the change of it? So what was the benefit of them keeping it? Regret. 1 second. Regret. Regret under the Emperor in reverse. So I tend to believe that someone else's power, authority, or convincingness outweighed the person who wanted to keep it where it was. Private property under the Devil. Private property under the Devil is like, in order to keep things concealed, you need to make the decision that you don't want to make here. You need to choose the lesser of two evils. Would you like this stuff to come out and you keep it in this county, or would you like to move it, which you don't want to do, but then have this stuff remain concealed? Greed under the Emperor in reverse, or the Hermit in reverse. Why did I say Emperor in reverse? Emperor and the Hermit in reverse. Greed and regret. Is it fair to say that the moving of counties does have something to do with part of the investigation element? Like there was a ball dropped, and in order to get that not as advertised, we need to move it. Almost like that. It's like to cover a mistake, it has to be moved when I don't want to move it. Fired. Okay. What was the one that retired or that was fired? It's like I need to separate myself from this mistake by letting this go that way. 8 of Swords in reverse. What's released? Drugs and put. Oh. I don't want it to go, but I need to follow this in order to keep this concealed. Drugs, a release of the drug and poison element. I just think it would be too close to home for people that know about what's going on in the surrounding factors of this. Embezzlement, child in reverse. I guess I'd say what I'm getting from this is it feels like in order to keep hidden what certain people turned a blind eye to in order to get some kind of financial or otherwise reward out of it, we need to cover for this and that person's decisions and not put up the fight to keep it anymore. We need to let it go. It feels like someone like released their hand and was like, okay, fine, go ahead, move it. Because I don't want it to be moved. But at the same time, which outweighs the other? Me wanting it to not be moved or me concealing who's connected to this drugs and poison behind the scenes? I have one card to confirm. Republican, true. True. Someone with the power behind the scenes. Okay, let's move to the next question. I think I'm piecing it together, but I want to get more information. What does the defense team hope to achieve with their evidence requests? What does the defense team hope to achieve with their evidence requests? Eight of Wands in reverse, some kind of communication that's been concealed. Also some kind of delay. Knight of Cups in reverse, taking back an offer. What does the defense team hope to achieve with their evidence requests? I'm unveiling this communication. It's allowing me to have a delay so that I can get some kind of deal taken back that shouldn't have been in place in the first place because of said communication. King of Wands in reverse. So not Brian. Three of Pentacles in reverse. It's giving the energy of like, what does the defense team hope to achieve with their evidence request? I'm buying time to reveal this or to force your hand to reveal this to me. Communication between people that are not Brian. But once this communication or evidence or something, it feels like communication, but it could be something else, comes forward, it forces someone who's given testimony to have to change their testimony, and they feel like that would work in Brian's favor. Let's get clarifiers. Eight of Wands in reverse. So delay due to hidden communication, pattern repetition in reverse. Not something that's typically done, something out of the ordinary. Or, hold on, I have to cough 1 second. Okay. Something that's out of the ordinary. Another clarifier for that. An unlikely connection. Concealing the communication between an unlikely connection. Confirm. Okay. Concealing the communication between an unlikely connection. Who's one side and the other side of that? One side of New World Order in reverse. Someone seasoned, someone who's been doing what they're doing for a while. Other side of it, evil demonic in reverse. So communication between someone that has been in their role for a long period of time that's been willfully blind to certain things that affects the case. Communication between that and another party. It feels like it's pointing to the woman that I referred to as the link. Um, and someone high up involved in the investigation. It's like they need to get things further away from that connection alive. Yeah, not any of the surviving roommates and not Brian, but it affects the trial. So it would have to be some kind of investigative element mixed in with something that had to do with that drug card. Knight of Cups in reverse, taking back a deal, taking back an offer. Hotel Motel in reverse, taking the key back. Some kind of communication between parties. One of those parties being involved in the investigation, one of those parties being involved in the surrounding narcotics factor of the town. There's some kind of communication between those parties that, if revealed, would take back an offer that was given to someone for their testimony because it would make their testimony not, what's that word? Trustable, not trustworthy. King of Wands in reverse. Yes, confirmation. King of Wands in reverse. Okay. Sad emotional, digital in reverse, woods concealed in reverse. If it got out, the digital information that's being concealed, somebody, once we see it, that person would not be able to explain away what that means other than telling the truth about it. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Come on. Down the rabbit hole. Three of Pentacles in reverse, down the rabbit hole. Someone on the outside of things that fell into the rabbit hole. I feel like it's saying what police knew and turned a blind eye to has been communicated to someone. And in order to make sure that that is not able to come up or out in trial, there was the safer bet to allow the trial to be moved. Work in reverse. Natural causes. The knocking over of one domino would cause the whole plan to not work. So if we keep it here, there's a potential for this to come out. And once that one domino goes over, all of the other ones are going to too. So we need to move it as to not knock over that first domino. Okay. Go to the next question. What obstacles are currently preventing progress in the trial and how can they be resolved? What obstacles are currently preventing progress in the trial and how can they be resolved? Ace of Cups, Eight of Swords in reverse. So the Ace of Cups can be the holy grail, the important piece, the piece that changes everything. The Eight of Swords in reverse is like breaking away or being free from something. Three of Wands in reverse. Didn't see that coming, did you? Remember I kept saying it would be like if Brian was in the passenger, hypothetically, if Brian was in the passenger seat of a car and someone was driving the car and there was this long brick building and he had one rock. And if he could throw this rock, not knowing when the window was going to pop up at the right time, at the right speed, he could break the window and hop out, like hypothetically. This feels like that. This feels like Brian's team feels like they have a gotcha moment. But there's some factor that the devil. is proving to be an obstacle. Some factor that's proving to be an obstacle. The devil. Six of Swords. We need to quite literally get away from that obstacle. It feels like the prosecution realizes what Brian's potential rock at the window moment is. And now that they've recognized what that is, whoever behind the scenes was trying to prevent this from switching locations was like, okay, let's switch it up. I know it's a lot more than that. So, like, I know there's a lot of other decisions, but it feels like there was somebody who really had a hand in it that was preventing it, that now has no other choice but to be like, okay, let's move it. We need to move it. We need to do whatever it takes to get us away from this. Because he has that rock. He has that holy grail. He has that, okay, this could work. Because of something that was done wrong behind the scenes. Let's get clarifiers. Under Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail. Freedom in reverse. Which is interesting because that freedom in reverse. The Holy Grail is somebody else that could be in trouble for their role. Eight of Swords in reverse. Somebody else that could be in trouble for their role. Oh. Political. Somebody important that could be in trouble for their role. Three of Wands in reverse. You didn't see this coming, did you? Okay. Bloodline, family lineage in reverse, neighborhood in reverse, royalty in reverse, trapped. Somebody with power or authority needs to protect their reputation and is calling in all of their favors. Calling in all of their favors. Okay, so Devil and Six of Swords. I'm going to read these two together for a clarifier. What is it that they need to get this away from? It needs to move so that we're further away from this element. It needs to move so that we're further away from this element. I'm going to do 3 cards. Timeline issues in reverse. Optical illusion in reverse. Timeline issues in reverse. We have the time to see clearly about. Have the time to see clearly about life insurance. Have the time to see clearly about life insurance. Somebody needing to protect themselves by looking the other way in some facet of this. Male. Timeline issues in reverse. He has a watch on. I need to protect myself by looking the other way. And now the trial needs to move so that we can separate ourselves from that person's decisions. Let's go to the next question. How will these delays impact the final trial date and potential verdict? How will these delays impact the final trial date and the potential verdict? Can we know about the impact? Ace of Swords in reverse, Page of Swords, the Magician in reverse, and the Sun. Shining light on some kind of deception, lie, or manipulation. How will these delays impact the final trial date and potential verdict? Shining light on some kind of Ten of Wands. And this is the after tarot. So typically he's standing up carrying all the wands. Here he's sat down. He's clutching onto that one last wand. clutching onto that one last wand. This is my final, as in Kohberger's team, we're putting it all on this one factor. We're using everything we have, hoping that this is what makes it all fall apart for them. We need to shine light on some kind of communication that is a lie, some kind of deception, some kind of written down, this is knowingly wrong, and they wrote it down this way anyway. I have to cough 1 second. Sorry. Okay. What can we know about that? Ace of Swords in reverse. What category is the lie or deception or written down wrong thing in? Fear in reverse. Biology, chemistry, scientific, and embezzlement. Somebody taking money to make evidence look away that it wasn't actually true. Change of plans in reverse. That was the plan. Is it fair to say that there's a factor of the crime scene being altered and then that fact being hidden? That is kind of what we're referring to. What was my question? How will these delays impact the final trial date and potential verdict? Brian's team needs a way to prove some kind of communication or lie to force someone's hand to go back on their testimony so that they can try and prove that something in the crime scene was not as it seems, but he can't just say that because it's guilty knowledge. So I need to find another way to force your hand to go back on what you said so that I can make that whole house of cards fall apart. Hopefully that makes sense. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, gift package. That's what you got your deal for, and I'm trying to take that back. Page of Swords, what's in that communication? Oh. Mind control and hidden network. What's in that communication? Mind control and hidden network. What's in that communication? Hidden network and mind control. Obey. Someone, and the barcode makes me think of like scanning things in. It feels like there's evidence that was not logged. Evidence that was not logged that would make another person not look so good. Pattern repetition. Something that's been done before. The Magician in reverse, where's the deception? Man-made disaster, avoidable in reverse, so unavoidable self-sabotage. Brian has something he can't use outright because it's guilty knowledge if he does it that way. He needs to get someone else to have to change their testimony to recant on what they said so that he can try and push that whole house of cards over, because once I take one out, everything else is more subject to fall. And it has to do with a connection between people that shouldn't be connected. The Sun and 10 of Wands, shining a light on a heavy burden. What's the heavy burden that Brian's team wants to shine a light on? Success in reverse, secret trip in reverse. An unsuccessful trip that's known about. When Brian was driving around. We know about that. Brian was driving around, frozen preserved. Almost like, I'm willing to give you this if you give me this, but Brian's team saying, "I'm willing to give you this, but we need this from you." Hoping that the other side doesn't recognize that that is the pushing over of one domino. But it's almost like the other side realized that that's the pushing over the domino, and hence the trial got moved. I'm going to do a little check-in with the 4 and see where we're at so far. I have more questions, but I want to make sure I'm on the right track. Okay. I'm going to do 3 of these and a bunch of little ones for each of the 4. Let's start with Xana. About what I said so far to help it make more sense. Bloodline, family lineage in reverse, so a connection being exposed. Secluded area. Oh. Connection being exposed about tunnels being exposed, which goes to the narcotic element. Connections being exposed, which deal with tunnels being exposed, which deals with the narcotic element. Acting drama. Yes, that's the title card. Yes, someone's title. Acting drama. Yes, someone's title. Witness lies in reverse. Right way. Do not enter, so go there. There's a connection being concealed purposefully, because that connection, the 2 ends of that connection only connect because of something that needs to remain concealed. Or multiple people could fall for one person's decision. Ethan, caught, secluded area again, blackmail paid off in reverse. So in order to get everything pointing to just Brian in the way it did, without the surrounding factors coming into it, something needed to not be entered. Somebody was getting some kind of benefit out of not giving everything they knew. Spouse, partner, man-made disaster avoidable. So a connection that led to a disaster that was avoidable. Digital in reverse, fraud, cybercrime in reverse, supplier. Drugs, poison in reverse, law enforcement, and solved. Almost like I come across this piece of evidence in the house, but I recognize that this piece of evidence implicates, say, like a partner of mine or something, in something nefarious. So I can't give this piece of evidence, but this piece of evidence also would have helped to convict anyone who needed to be convicted, but I can't give it because if I give it, it's also going to get convicted someone that I don't want to get convicted, a partner or something. So we need to move the trial in order to avoid that happening. And we know that Brian can't come forward with this information because it's guilty knowledge. But then we recognize he has a counter plan for what we plan to conceal. And boom, we need to buy time, have everything moved to figure out how to continue to conceal this, knowing that Brian has a plan to bring this out without using it as guilty knowledge. That's what I'm getting. Let's go to the next person. Kaylee. Kaylee's 3 cards. Spouse, partner in reverse. Oops. I didn't mean for that one to be in there, but oh. Drugs, poison. Secret weapon, desert mirage, and distraction. Secret weapon is you see it and it's not there. So you see some kind of evidence and oop, it's not there. Distraction. I see this. I recognize that this connects to this person. Even though it would help to convict Brian, it would also implicate this person. So I need to conceal this. And then we need to come up with other stuff to make sure that it's solid on Brian, knowing we can't use this because this would implicate someone else as well. So we need to sever that connection. We can't let those 2 dots connect. Can't let those 2 dots connect. Party celebration in reverse, propaganda, child in reverse, burial in reverse. Bringing somebody else back into things that thinks that they got away from this situation. Collapse in reverse, desert mirage. Resurrecting something you think you see and it's not really there. If Brian can find a way to force their hand to reveal what they're concealing, it implicates someone who purposefully hid something, and it's going to make multiple people have to pay the price for that, because not only did the person that knew something not give that information or evidence, but other people helped them to conceal it. What is the piece of evidence that's being concealed? Final ending, do not resuscitate. Has something to do with what was going on in between, why it took so long to call police. Paper trail riot in reverse. We don't want the battle this paper trail would bring. We have to get rid of it. I have a confirmation from Kaylee about that when I say we don't want the battle this paper trail would bring. We have to get rid of it. Parental figure. It goes back to the woman I referred to as the link. The woman behind the scenes calling the shots. There's some kind of evidence that would connect to that person, and they could not let that happen. Change of plans. What were the original plans and what did they need to change to when it comes to how long it took to call police? Original plans? No. No female? No female Dylan? No female love. No female 3 roses. Petals. It it feels like the original plan was not to wait that long to call, but something took longer than expected. Something took 3 times longer than expected. Something took 3 times longer than expected. Weren't supposed to wait that long to call. Conspiracy theory, dismemberment. So it was more than just getting stuff out of the house. What else was it? Down the rabbit hole in reverse. Something coming to the surface. Fear in reverse. Fear in reverse is the same as love. Down the rabbit hole in reverse. Something surfacing. A connection. If it was more than just removing stuff out of the house, something coming to the surface that had to be dealt with, what would that be that came to the surface to be dealt with? Manipulation, gaslighting, and control, caregiver, medical staff in reverse. Puppet on a string. More than just removing stuff out of the house. They had to change something in the context of the crime scene to get it to fit the narrative that they wanted it to be. Oh. Stop trafficking. We're gonna go to the next. Is that Kaylee? Maddie. Delays in reverse, angels, ancestors in reverse, high vibes in reverse, power supply. The delay was not supposed to be that long. There was an evil reason, a low vibrational reason, someone abusing their power because they couldn't have the crime scene look the way that it was. They had to move certain things around before police could be called, allegedly, my opinion. Change of plans in reverse, accident. Manipulation, gaslighting, and control in reverse, caught in reverse. Title card, rival competition. There's a piece of this that looked wrong to fit the narrative about what their motive was going to be for Brian. And it's like, not only did we have to get stuff out of the house, but we had to wait for something to be altered so that it could not look like the motive that we're saying was untrue. All right, let's pull some cards for Brian here. What are Brian's feelings about the venue being changed? The World, the Ace of Swords. Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Setting the stage for truth to be revealed, that there was a lot of effort putting into concealing. And in the concealing of it, this is the after tarot. So as he's doing this betrayal, he's also not recognizing he's stepping his foot into this trap here. So I'm setting the stage for some kind of trap for another party. 5 of Cups. Typically, this person's looking at these 3 knocked over cups, but being this is the after tarot, they're kind of facing these 2 standing upright cups. So something in the move is giving Brian hope to exposing some kind of truth. Like you thought that you needed to do this to protect yourself, but this is also the element I'm going to use to try and make the house of cards fall down. The World. Sad, emotional. Everybody's watching the stage being set. Family, bloodline, family lineage, bloodline in reverse, and church. Everybody's watching. Everybody's watching the connection form so that when the connection is exposed, it makes sense. Digital in reverse. The truth about why things are being concealed in terms of digital evidence. 10 of Pentacles in reverse. Male. Brian thinks he has a I gotcha moment that he can use now because of things moving. Seven of Swords. Female. Has something to do with the surviving roommate's testimony. And I got this in other readings where I said it was almost like they need to get one person to say something that contradicts their original testimony because that would wipe out multiple people's testimonies. And for some reason, the change of venue feels to be giving him that opportunity. 5 of Cups. Political, treason, stranger in reverse. And we're saying something about the surviving roommate's testimony. Political, treason, stranger in reverse. That the surviving roommates are connected to someone who's directly connected to Brian. The link. Allegedly. Surviving roommates are connected to someone who's connected to Brian, allegedly. Confirmation from Ethan. Conspiracy theory in reverse. So true. Not a conspiracy. Okay. 1 second. I have to cough again. Okay. We're going to do a couple more and then finish this up and then I'll address it again after that court appearance because I just almost hit restart instead, or like restarted the whole video instead of hitting continue, and I don't want this to all erase. So, what hidden factors could emerge during the trial that might change its course? Bloodline, family lineage, a connection, man-made disaster, avoidable in reverse, an unavoidable connection. Snake, backstabber, collapse. Someone's entire story will collapse or entire testimony will collapse if you figure out who they're connected to or what they're connected to. Clarifiers. Bloodline, family lineage. Hidden missing key. That connection is the key. That connection is the key. Man-made disaster, avoidable in reverse. So an unavoidable disaster. Corruption. So what else comes out? Snake, backstabber. Witness in reverse, private property. It has to be something about the surviving roommate's testimony. It's like Brian's vision on it is, if I can get this person to go back on this piece of what they said, it makes everything else start to domino effect, fall apart. And that eventually leads to why was this hidden? Why was this concealed? How was this hidden? How was this concealed? And that leads back to the corruption element. So in Brian's mind, if I can get them in that way, get them by the you know what, then they will have to make a deal or change something or throw the whole case out. I don't know. But that is that rock in the window effect that I saw from early on. Collapse in reverse, imprisonment in reverse. It's the factor that Brian thinks can free him. If I can get this piece of the testimony to fall apart, all the dominoes knock over until it gets back to the first domino, and that first domino is corruption. The first domino is this person connected to this person for this reason. And I'm not even saying that means Brian did or didn't do it. I'm saying what that means is things that were done incorrectly were done to cover up for this corruption element. And Brian wants to expose it, but can't expose it directly because it's guilty knowledge. So I need to get you to accidentally expose yourself, as in someone who has given testimony. Allegedly. Is there external interference affecting the progress of the case? Let me reword that. What external interference is affecting the progress of the case? Something that's not being seen. Red flag. Something that's not being seen, that would be a major red flag. AI, they got it wrong in reverse. They got it wrong in reverse, so they got it right. Brian's team knows exactly what is being hidden, but they can't directly ask for it because it would be evidence of guilty knowledge. It would be like, this is just an example. For example, not literal, just example. Brian can't come forth and say, oh, well, I saw so-and-so in the house that night. They could have been the one to do it. Well, how would you know that if you weren't in the house? That example, not literal. That's what I mean. Brian's team knows exactly what it is, but they can't ask for it directly, and the prosecution knows that. Allegedly. Under what's not being seen. What's not being seen. Treason in reverse. Someone betraying their duties. What is being concealed is someone betraying their duties. Red flag, biology, chemistry, scientific. Someone betraying their duties when it comes to evidence. Solid evidence. AI. Hired in reverse, so fired. It feels. Do I say that? Hold on. It feels like at least one of the factors of what is being hidden, that person is no longer in the position they were in when they were concealing things. So this is someone who's no longer in that same role. That person has been removed from the role because of the people on the back end. Almost like, let me try and break down what I'm seeing. So this person conceals something, hides something. Other people are aware of this and take steps accordingly to keep it concealed, because once you already did it, can't go back now. That person is no longer in that same role. So now if we highlight what was concealed by that person, we're also highlighting who else knew about it, because how did you know to get that person out of the role? Why did you not just tell what they did? You just removed them and kept it pushing. So now it's like that person can't be found out because everyone else that helped that person to conceal what was concealed will also be painted as someone with guilty knowledge. And they got it wrong in reverse. Feels to me like it's saying exactly what the defense is looking for is what the prosecution is purposefully trying to not give them, because they know that it's the pushing over of that domino. Manipulation, gaslighting, and control in reverse. It's the puppet on the string being concealed. Someone else's choices stemming from instruction given to them by someone else. So, hey, that evidence can't go in. Get rid of that. I do that, and then boom, everything else needs to happen to cover up for my choice to follow what someone else is telling me to do, allegedly. Three cards about what it is, what it is that the defense can't ask for directly but needs from the prosecution. Aliens, celebrity, evil demonic in reverse. Oh, deep state. I don't belong in my position, but I'm there because I'm concealing my true intentions. Goes back to the link. I don't know. It's like Brian can't come forward and say, "Hey, there's this woman that connects me and these people, and this is kind of what's being. This is how I know they're concealing stuff, because they're trying to sever that connection between me and the link, but I can't just come forward and say that because it's guilty knowledge. So in order to get to that person, I got to take everybody else down." Let's go to the next question. What is the likelihood that new evidence will come to light during this period of delay? What is the likelihood that new evidence will come to light during this period of delay? Runaway escape. There's the dominoes. Runaway escape in reverse. Natural causes in reverse. So we need to give you, we're trapped now. We have to give you something, because you have us in a position where to not give you anything would be worse, as in the prosecution to the defense. So we have to give you something, but we can't give you what you're looking for. So we need to give you what? Healing, recovery, alignment in reverse. Corrupted media source in reverse. A piece of truth that's not gonna look great, but isn't the big one. Um, excuse me. It's kinda giving cutting the low-hanging fruit. Cutting the low-hanging fruit. Struggle. We're trapped in struggle. Breakup, separation, divorce. We already disconnected from this person. Now we need to put some issue on them, as in someone who's no longer in their position of power because of the choices they made that are being concealed. Healing, recovery, alignment in reverse. Military operation in reverse. Huh. Brian connected to someone who's connected to the link. How do we get that piece to come out without it looking like guilty knowledge? Corrupted media source in reverse. The truth about strategy. What's the truth about the strategy? Huh. What's the truth about the strategy? Assassination, murder for hire. They can't really talk about Brian's true motive. Blackmail paid off in reverse. Pattern repetition. They can't really talk about Brian's true motive. Paid for. Paying you to do what's typically done. Paying you to do what's typically done. Organized crime in reverse. Let's go to the next question. What is the likelihood that new evidence will come to light? I feel like they're going to have to give something so that they don't have to give exactly what they're trying to purposely conceal. So I have to give you this so that it looks like, oh, okay, I'm giving you what you asked for so that you don't continue to ask for more. Because if you ask for more, then I can be like, okay, it's kind of a witch's hunt. There's nothing else. We gave you everything. We scraped the bottom of the pan to give you what was left, kind of thing. All right, we're going to wrap this up with one last piece. And if you haven't watched all my other readings up to this part might be a little confusing. But there's a woman that I refer to as the link that I feel like connects certain things behind the scenes. I feel like this woman is in charge of decisions. I feel like this woman is connected to not only Brian, but to other people involved in the case and also the investigation element. How is that person feeling about the trial being moved? Is my question. The link, the woman I refer to as the link. How is she feeling about the trial being moved? Temperance in reverse, lack of balance. Page of Pentacles in reverse. Interesting. Ten of Wands. I'm thrown off balance because I feel like something that is not going to be present is going to be a burden for me. I feel like something that's not judgment in reverse. Kind of giving the energy of like, I feel like people from the link, I feel like people in the area that this happened in would be more prone to give that guilty verdict, whereas the people in the other place may not know the background of what goes on. And for some reason, that's a burden for me. So I don't know if that's I feel like I can taint the jury pool here and not there. I don't know if that's I feel like the people who would be in the jury here would likely know me or know what goes on or know what's up as opposed to those that are further away. I feel like it has a lot to do with other things that go on in that town. Witness in reverse. I feel like from the link, I feel like I don't have the control over the moving factors of people's testimonies. Fear in reverse. Below ground level. I feel like there's a fear coming from the link, the woman that I referred to as the link. I feel like there's a fear coming from her about what Brian will expose, being that he's not in the immediate area. And it's almost like, are we going to have to make some kind of deal with him so he doesn't expose X, Y, and Z because now he has us into a corner in some way? Or at least she feels like there's a fear of that. Plot twist in reverse. Exactly what we'd expect. Judgment in reverse. I almost feel like the woman I refer to as the link feels like now that things have been moved, there's a higher potential for that rock that Brian has to throw to actually hit the window and free him. For some reason, she felt like there was more control if it stayed in Latah County. Frozen, preserved, in reverse, but it was released. I'm afraid of him releasing something there that he wouldn't release here. What could that be? Imprisonment. I'm afraid of him being released. Drama acting in reverse. Road distance journey in reverse. The mask coming off. There's nowhere else to go. Almost like from the Link's perspective, now that Brian's been moved, she may feel like he will make more of a risky move to expose things that he may not have wanted to expose as much if he stayed in the same location because of the either the jury or the people involved in the case. Embezzlement in reverse. We can't get to people to have them go a certain way. No accident. And that's on purpose. We can't get to people to have them go a certain way, and that's on purpose. What does that mean? Regret in reverse. Democrat in reverse. Low vibes. I feel like the Link had somebody on their payroll in the immediate Latah County, and that is not the case in the new county. So I feel like whoever's on the Link's payroll has lost their power to make some kind of changes if necessary as things start to come out. Yeah, everything falling into place with a connection. Everything falling into place with a connection. What can we expect? What can we expect this upcoming court appearance? What can we expect this upcoming court appearance? The Holy Grail again. Justice in reverse. I don't really think that there's any solid decisions being made. I think it's more like, okay, what needs to happen next? I feel like there's time bought. I'm almost wondering with this Ace of Cups if they end up just asking for something specific. It feels like it's focusing on a what's still lacking. Knight of Wands in reverse, buying time. Hanged Man. I feel like Brian gets some kind of win. Not like winning the whole case, but I feel like something goes in his favor at this upcoming appearance. It feels like it's based off of a specific argument made by his team. Communication in reverse about the communication factor that's being concealed. Almost like they get more specific about asking for it, or they make progress towards getting it, or they're granted something based off of what they're still lacking. Breaking free and shining light on something that is changed from the past. It almost feels like Brian's team offers a different way to look at something and what they're lacking, and it goes in their favor. That's what I'm getting. I don't think the whole court appearance goes in their favor, but I think there's something specific and important that goes in Brian's team's favor because of what they're still not being given. Temperance in reverse. That's causing an imbalance. That's what I'm getting from now. I'll loop back around to this. I tried to make that make sense, but that's kind of how I was seeing it. So I'm just trying to explain it in the way that I'm seeing it. Please remember that this is an energy reading. It's all alleged, my opinion, not fact. Talk to you soon.